Good afternoon, Mark. It's Nikki here. Good afternoon, Transport Evolved. I can't believe it's Tuesday already. I know this is breaking with our tradition of not going backwards and forwards. F-150, we do need to change the way we think about cars and pickup trucks, but I think that only comes when we change the way we think about car ownership. If we didn't own our cars, then we'd just hire and or lease a car when we needed to that met our needs. So we wouldn't be buying a pickup truck for those, 1 or 2 trips a year when we go camping. We'd be leasing a car for our daily commute, which ties in nicely with the thing I want to talk to you about today. And then when we needed to go long distance, we needed to go off-road, we would just literally exchange our commuter for a vehicle which met our needs. BMW i3 carb, oh yes. The inherent value of stickers. We already know, Mark, that HOV lane stickers are really prized. Used Priuses, should that be Prii? They had their values went up hugely when on the second-hand market, when the HOV lane access program included the yellow stickers, which is obviously the hybrids. You could buy a Prius in California for less if it didn't have the HOV lane access sticker. How much is your time worth? Because at the end of the day, the HOV lane access stickers are just about your time. And whether you sit in the regular lanes with everybody else and you listen to an audiobook and drink your coffee and get to work with everybody else, or you zoom down the carpool lane, get to work really quickly. And what do you do with that extra time? Do you just arrive at your office earlier? Do you leave later? Does your family benefit? BMW thinks it knows better, and it's using its own market research to justify what it's done. I don't think that's so unusual. It's like saying, here, this adapter, it's a very special adapter. It keeps lions away. It stops lions from pooing in my office. Nikki, there are no lions in your office. And I go, I know, it's really good, isn't it? Justification is not an excuse, though, for not listening to your customers, because at the end of the day, the customers are the ones who pay you. The customers are the ones who decide whether your product is a success or a failure. Israel swap stations. I went to Israel. I was really lucky. I drove a better place car. I experienced swap stations. You could say I was a convert. They were fantastic, if slightly complex, and they took a bit longer than I thought they would, and frankly it was a bit of a hoo-ha to get through. Cars already provide enough range for everyday use. It's only long distance trips and or commercial uses where we need battery swapping. What I said at the beginning about having a vehicle that you rent or lease rather than own, and you can switch and swap them as you need, is probably the best future model for us as a society if we need to cut our carbon emissions and use less resources to get from point A to point B. Take the Slovakian company, for example. They know their routes every day. Greenway is the name of the company. They know their routes that their clients use, and so they are able to predict where the batteries will be needed. And battery swapping is almost a bit like picking up a parcel. You drive here, you make these 10 deliveries, then you pick up a battery, then you do another 10 deliveries, pick up a battery and more parcels, continue your day. It seems to work. It's going to be lower fuel costs because you're not paying for diesel or gasoline, and emissions checks, bye-bye. Win all round. I want to talk to you about the Tango EV. It's made by a company in Washington State called Commuter Cars. You sit one behind the other in this tandem-shaped vehicle that's no wider than most motorbikes. And you can lane split, which means that you can get from point A to point B really quickly. Why is it so important and why is it so revolutionary? Well, you can lane split with it, which means you can have 2 cars side by side in the same lane going in different directions at the end of their trip, but they can share that same space along the motorway or freeway depending on which country you're in. It's a bit like the Twizy in so much as the idea is it's a commuting vehicle rather than just a vehicle that you need all the time. Think about how we commute. We spend most of our time sitting in a 4-seat car with one person in it to go from point A to point B, a trip we make every single day. And some of us who are really smart and clever and maybe fit, we use our bicycles or public transport. But not everybody wants to do that. Which comes back to my original question I had at the very beginning. Should we be moving towards a situation in the future where we lease vehicles for specific purposes and then swap them out for other vehicles that meet those specific purposes, rather than having one car that kind of does all the jobs but not very well? Imagine the scenario. You sign up to a mobility company like you would sign up to a cell phone plan. and you pay so many pounds or dollars or whatever per month. And in exchange for that, you get so many miles in different classes of vehicles. I'd like to see what you think, Mark. I'd like to see what you think as well, Transport Evolved viewers. Bye bye.